Seven was a lone wolf detective who valued his own code over the rules, doing what was right over doing what you were told. Seven, you're a loose cannon. That was why, on that fateful day, he'd gone with his gut and gone to the wharf at night on a slim lead. It was 9 years ago. The wharf had been dark and cold and foreboding. At the time, he'd been investigating a spate of kidnappings, all of them children. They'd all had one thing in common: a history of visits to one particular hospital. The hospital that had been under the management of Cradle Pharmaceutical, and Seven's investigation had turned up evidence that Cradle had been involved in the kidnappings. After a little persuasion, he'd managed to finally get a real lead from someone inside Cradle Pharmaceutical. They told him that night, a ship was set to take the children from where they were being held to a large passenger liner docked offshore. Seven had, of course, got to the wharf. Hidden in the shadows, he'd searched the harbor until, at last, found the ship he was looking for. Aw, dude. He's Bala. There were a number of human shapes moving near the ship. There were men in black suits. Many of them were carrying large bags. The bags. There was something about the way they moved as they were carried. There could be no mistake. There were human beings in those bags. He had moved before he even realized he was going to. Out of the shadows he came, his gun already in hand. He heard the words, "Don't move," but they weren't his. He felt metal touch the back of his head. Drop your gum. Yeah, drop your gum, man. Spearmint, if possible. Drop your gun, came the cold voice from behind him. I could kill you right now. It would mean nothing at all. I need only tie an anchor to your feet and doubt anyone will see you for perhaps a week or so. Is that what you'd like? The fish here would be thankful for the meal. With the words, he felt the cold metal thing behind him press against his skull. Slowly, Seven crouched down and laid his gun on the ground. Then suddenly, he felt a sharp pain in his neck. A needle. Was it some sort of drug? As he was thinking about that, Seven felt his face hit the cold concrete beneath him. He could feel the chill of it seeping into him. Damn it. Shit, my head hurts. Seven woke to find himself lying on a hard floor. He twisted his neck to peer around the room. Where am I? There was a small, shabby bed and a dirty sink. A toilet with no stall or privacy of any sort. As a cop, it was a place Seven had seen all too often. I'm in a cell, huh? Opposite the toilet was a door set into the wall. Seven struggled to his feet and hobbled toward it. He gave the door a good shove, and then another, then tried pulling it. It didn't open. Well, that was about what he'd expected. It wasn't likely that someone would put him in a cell only to leave it unlocked. He threw himself against the door a few times, but to no avail. I knew it. Seven grumbled to himself as he moved back toward the bed. He sat down. He sat there for a very long time. Just how long, he wasn't sure. At last he began to nod off and had nearly fallen asleep when he was roused by a distant voice. There's over. It's 9. The voice was far away. Very far away. Seven couldn't understand what it was saying. Nonetheless, it was a voice, and a high one, most likely a child. His eyes shot open. King. As he listened, he could make out several different, distinct voices. There were at least 5 or 6, possibly more. Where were the voices coming from? He looked around the room frantically. Perhaps the door? No, that wasn't it. What? Go out. Was it coming from the left? Was it coming from under the bed? He grabbed the bed and flipped it up with ease. Oh, hey. There it was. There was a hole for ventilation in the wall where the bed had been, covered with a metal grate. Seven lay down on his stomach and peered through the grate. He couldn't see anything. It was too dark. Now that he had found it, however, there could be no doubt this was the source of the voices. For a moment he was confused. Why were there children nearby? Then he remembered what the man from the Credo Pharmaceutical had told him. How his ship would take the kidnapped children from the wharf to a waiting passenger liner out in the ocean. Was Seven on that passenger liner? It didn't matter. What mattered was that he had found a way to the children. Seven looked at the metal grate. Could he fit through that hole? He stuck his fingers through the grate and grabbed hold of it. Yeah, how'd you like that, you son of a bitch? The dark square sat open before him. Seven wiped the sweat from his forehead and crawled inside. The first section of the duct was small. Seven could do little more than wriggle along on his belly. After a time, however, it got a little larger, and even someone as large as Seven was able to crawl along his hands and knees. He felt like he'd grown from an inchworm to an insect. Not much of an improvement, but it was better than nothing. He began to wonder where the duct would take him. There was a thunderous sound like a massive metal door slamming shut. Then he heard a voice. Warning! Warning! Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Automatic incineration will take place in 18 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately. Repeat. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. The voice wasn't harsh, but something about the calm with which it spoke made it even more terrifying. Seven wasn't sure what it meant, but incinerator certainly didn't sound good. Then, almost as if to confirm his suspicions, he heard a chorus of young voices. No! Help me! Many of the voices were simply screaming in terror, mixing with one another to create a single horrifying howl. Damn it. What the hell is going on here? Seven began to crawl along the duct as fast as his arms and legs would carry him. The noise he made was tremendous, but he was long past carrying. A few moments later, a metal door appeared on the left side of the duct. Seven could hear the screams of the children from the other side of it. This was it. He grabbed hold of the handle and threw the door open. The old metal gave way easily before his onslaught. What the hell is this place? The room he was looking out into had a dome for a ceiling and 9 equally sized walls. At the top of the dome was an upside-down funnel. It looked almost like a chimney. Then he looked down. Hey guys, how you doing? So, want some ice cream? Then he looked down. There they were, the children he'd been looking for. They stared up at Seven, their cries silenced for the moment by surprise and fear. Whether they were scared of the room or him, Seven couldn't tell. It was certainly possible that they were frightened of both. Not that I could blame them, running into a mug like this when they're already scared shitless. He permitted himself a short snort of a laugh, then turned to the children again. Don't worry, kids. I'm not your enemy. I'm one of the good guys. Not a single one of them moved. Except for one. Oh my god. It's frickin' Santa. Except for one, who was a boy, slightly older than the others in a private school uniform. Who the hell are you? As he spoke, he took a tentative step forward and gave Seven a suspicious look. I'm a detective. I'm here to rescue you. The moment the words were out of his mouth, he could see the children relax. How are you going to help us? The boy in the uniform asked. Where's the exit? Seven responded. There isn't one. The doors we came in through won't open, and the door over there. He cut himself off, considered something, and then continued. Anyway, there's no point. We can't all get out of here. If we don't get out of here, we're gonna be burned to death. Burned to death. Can't you hear it? That voice said the incinerator is gonna start up soon. The voice spoke again. Automatic incineration will take place in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. They only had 15 minutes. Seven looked back down at the children. It was a good 20 or 30 feet to the floor. There was no way he could pull the children up. That was when he had an idea. Wait right there. I'm going to be right back. What? Where's he going? Are you just going to leave us here? Seven did his best to smile. What he felt was a reassuring smile. Don't worry, alright. I'll be back. I promise. So just stay calm and wait right there. Got it? He didn't want to wait. He didn't wait to hear them respond. There wasn't time. He ran as fast as a man could run on his hands and knees. Before long, he was back in his cell. He was back where he had started, but he had a plan. There was something there that he needed. As soon as he was finished, he dove back into the duct and took off toward the incinerator. Sorry to keep you waiting, guys. Leaning out of the door in the duct, Seven lowered the rope he'd brought to the floor of the incinerator. Back in the cell, he tore the bed sheets into strips and tied them together to make a rope. Like Seven himself, it wasn't very attractive, but it got the job done. Alright, just tie that around yourself, okay? I'll pull you up one at a time. Right. Huh? Wait a sec. That was when he noticed. There were more of you before. Where'd the rest of you go? The boy in uniform answered. I let them go on ahead. We opened the door, number 9 door, and they left. What? You're telling me you opened that door? That's what I said. And what the hell are you doing here? We couldn't go with them. Why not? Look, the only people who can go through the numbered door... Automatic incineration will take place in 5 minutes. The voice reverberated against the walls of the room. Look, that can wait, alright. Just get us out of here. Right. Seven grabbed hold of the rope. First up was a girl with a ponytail. Next was the girl with the red necktie, followed by a boy in a jacket who said he'd climb up on his own. Last up was his boy in the uniform. Like the boy in the jacket, he climbed up the rope by himself. He looked scrawny from above, but his looks bellied impressive strength. He scaled the rope quickly, but as he was almost to 7, it snapped. They heard the sound of someone knocking now. All eyes turned to the door. Cut into it was a thick square window. On the other side, they could see a furious face. Oh, jeez. God damn it. What's going on in here? Why is the room empty? Where the hell are those kids? The door opened and a man stepped in, being half mad with fury. Seven recognized his face. He'd seen him many times in photos during his investigation. The man's name was Gentaro Hongo, aka Ace, the Crazy Man, the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceutical. Hongo saw the boy hanging from the rope. He roared like an animal and lunged for the rope. Hurry! I know! The boy in the uniform resumed a scramble up the rope. Get back here! He was 15 feet away. 10. The moment he came within arm's reach, Seven grabbed the boy in the uniform. With a jerk, he tossed him into the duct behind him. Gah! No! Hongo had lost any semblance of control. His face no longer looked human. It was twisted into something terrifying. The visage of the devil, or a ferocious monster. Seven quickly reeled in his rope, leaving the furious Hongo on the floor of the room, and he crawled back into the duct. Dang, you won't get away with this. How dare you compromise this experiment? What experiment? Seven wondered. Automatic incineration will take place in 1 minute. Hey, old man. What the hell are you doing? Hurry up. It was the boy in the uniform. Seven tossed Hongo a taunting salute and pulled the door closed. There was no point to going back to Seven's cell, so they continued down the duct in the other direction. After 30 feet or so, another duct met theirs, heading down. They nodded at one another, then turned and slid down the duct. A short time later, they crawled out of the duct to find themselves in a narrow hallway. There was a door on each side of it. The one on the left was a normal double door. But the one on the right was a familiar thick metal door with black and yellow stripes and a device next to it on the wall. On the door was a plate that read incinerator. Then, that's where we were. Yeah, Hongo might still be in there. Looks like it's been shut off though. Wait, what? He's still in there. Yeah, that's not good. Seven grunted. Fine, the other door. Go into the other door. Hurry. The children began to run, with Seven following close behind. On the other side of the door was a large spiral staircase. Run! Seven shouted. They didn't need to be told twice. Up and up and up they went. Their feet pounded against the steps and their arms churned the air. Round and round and round they went, like a human tornado. The stairway kept going. Oh, there's Snake. They passed a couple of rooms that looked to be dance halls when the boy in the uniform spoke. Something's up. Akane's not catching up to us. Akane. My kid sister. The girl with the red necktie. Akane. That was strange. Seven didn't remember seeing that name in the list of children who'd gone missing. Hey! Akane! He cupped his hands around his mouth and yelled. There was no response. Maybe we outran her. Suddenly the boy in the uniform stopped short. Seven stopped too, as did the boy in the jacket and the ponytailed girl. When did we do that? Well, we passed a couple big rooms on the way here. Maybe she took a rest on one of them? No, that's impossible. Sorry, Grandpa, you keep going. I gotta go look for her downstairs. He turned to go. Hey, kid, wait. Damn, I said wait. The boy didn't even seem to hear him. Seven spun around and yelled to the boy in the jacket and the girl with the ponytail. I'm going after him. You two keep going, alright? You got it? The girl nodded and began to run up the stairs. The boy, however, I'm going with you. Seven didn't have time to argue. Instead, he simply nodded and took off down the stairs. The boy in the jacket followed. They ran all the way to the bottom floor, calling for her. Akane was nowhere to be found. Where the hell did she go? The boy in the uniform couldn't hide his frustration. Help me! Somebody help me! It was a girl's voice. Akane! The boy in the uniform threw open the door and leapt into the hallway that faced the incinerator. Seven and the boy in the jacket followed. Seven couldn't believe what he saw. Oh jeez. That's June. Hongo had grabbed Akane by the arm and was doing his utmost to force her into the incinerator. Jeez. No, I don't want to. Let me go. Please let go of me. She had planted her feet squarely on the floor, and he was doing her best. She was doing her best to get away. But Hongo was much larger than she was. She wasn't going to win. Akane, the boy in the uniform shouted. He roared with anger and charged toward Hongo. You came back. You're too late, idiot. Hongo lifted Akane bodily from her feet and threw her, struggling, into the incinerator. Ah! Before Seven or the boy in the uniform could react, Hongo leapt through the door after her. They saw him land inside. And then the door slammed shut, with the finality of a great steel guillotine. The three of them ran to the door. They pulled and strained, trying desperately to get it open. It's no use. Goddamn thing won't move an inch. The boy in the uniform cried out and began to slam his fists against the door. He hit it with such force, Seven feared his knuckles would shatter from the impact. Akane! Akane! Are you okay? Help me! Her voice was muffled by the door, but the sheer terror in it was unmistakable. What should I do? I think I'm trapped in here. Where's Hongo? He went out the other door. What? Warning. Warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Automatic incineration will take place in 18 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately. Repeat, emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Are you kidding me? Seven was at a loss. Same damn thing. Are you there? Kane's voice sounded close to tears. Yeah, we're here. Just hang on, alright? We're gonna figure out a way to save you. She could have seen the bloodless face of the boy in the uniform. His words would have seemed like little more than a sick joke. Ma'am? Automatic incineration will take place at 17. Are you just going to count down every minute? Don't do that. Please, please help me. I'm really, really scared. I don't want to die. Please, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. It's gonna be alright. I'll figure something out, I promise. I promise, okay? You hear me? I promise. You could hear muffled sobs from the other side of the door. The boy in the uniform tightened his fists. His knuckles were a bloodless white. Seven could tell that he was holding back tears of his own. It was silent. All they could hear was the creaking of the boat as it shifted in the water. They waited, and waited, but Seven didn't continue. What happened then? Junpei couldn't wait any longer. He had to know. Seven looked at the floor. Come on, man. Put yourself in my shoes. It doesn't end good. You think I want to remember that? Then, yeah. If I'd known it was going to be like this, I almost wish I hadn't remembered. Seven shook his head. But there was something Junpei had to know. Hey, are you sure? Look, I don't want to ask this either, but there's something I don't get. So if you could just tell me, did that girl Akane really? Seven stared straight ahead at nothing. Yeah, I'm sure. There wasn't anything we could do. After a while, the countdown ended, and we heard something burning. Even after the fire stopped, they couldn't move. Seven, the boy in the jacket, simply stood where they were, frozen. The boy in the uniform collapsed, falling to the floor in a jumble of limbs like a puppet whose strings had been cut. A few more minutes passed. The door opened. The boy in the uniform ran in, stumbling over his own feet. Seven and the boy in the jacket followed, still too numb to speak. The air in the incinerator was hot. Every breath made Seven's lungs feel like they were on fire. The air shimmered with heat. And in the middle of the room, beneath the waves of heat, there it lay. The boy in the uniform walked toward it, his legs shaking violently. Seven couldn't see his face, but his body looked somehow empty. Finally, he reached it. The boy collapsed to his knees, his legs no longer able to support him. Ah! Junpei felt a cold lump form in the pit of his stomach. A feeling of sickening anticipation washed over him. He could feel his body shivering. He desperately did not want to know the answer he feared he knew already, but he had to ask. He had to know for sure. Can I ask you one more thing? What? The girl. Akane. What was her last name? What does it matter to you? Just tell me, okay? Please. Seven looked at Junpei curiously, and ran his tongue quickly over his dry lips. Kurashiki. Her name was Akane Kurashiki. Something inside of Junpei stopped. He had no more words left. He had no more Junpei left. He was just a shell of flesh and bone. Seven turned to Snake. You were there that day, weren't you? The tall kid in the jacket. That was you, wasn't it? Yes, I was. You're a crack detective. Junpei's mind was blank, withdrawn from the world. Somewhere far away, he'd hear Seven and Snake talking. Don't misunderstand me. I told you before how Zero threatened me. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't say anything about what happened 9 years ago. So you're saying you're not working for Zero, right? Of course not. Clover, what about you? Hey, come on. You really think I'm working with Zero? I told you before, you idiot. I was in Nevada in Building Q. I did hear that a detective rescued the kids on the boat, but I didn't know it was you. Her surprise seemed to be genuine. Seven regarded Clover for a moment and rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Well, I guess I believe you. Clover nodded. Alright, let me ask you another question. He stuck his hands into his pockets and took a few steps. Then he stopped and turned around to face them again. Santa's real name is His real name is Kurashiki. He's Akane's brother. You know that. No, I didn't. Did you? Well, yes, I knew Kurashiki was her brother, but I didn't know he was Santa, at least not from the beginning. 9 years ago, he was in the middle of puberty. His voice is entirely different now. I'm ashamed to say that even my exceptional hearing wasn't able to make that connection. As such, I had no reason to think Santa was Aoi. When did you figure it out? A short time ago, Clover told me that Santa might have been one of the subjects of the initial experiment. When she told me that, I had a feeling. Santa is Akane Kurashiki, June's brother. That spark caught flame in Junpei's leaden mind, and the fog began to clear. Like an engine beginning to turn, images and thoughts began to coalesce in his mind, coming faster and faster, forming bigger images, bigger thoughts. Junpei blinked. He was back. There is still a lot we don't know. I mean, like, a lot. But there is one thing I think we can say we know. What's that? The body we found in the shower room had to be Nijisaki, dressed up to look like Snake. What? Come on, man. What kind of detective are you? You didn't figure that out already? Hey, go easy on me, man. I just got my memory back, alright? Cut me some slack. Well, if he is, the 3 murders make sense then, don't they? Yeah, that's right. Murder. Kubota blew himself up, but that was murder too. So why did these murders take place? If Junpei is correct, and the body in the shower room, it was Nijisaki's. That means all the people who were murdered were involved with the creation of the Nonary Project. Kubota, the person who conducted the actual experiments. Nijisaki, Hongo's assistant. Musashido, the man who financed the project. You mean this was all just revenge? Santa is Zero. He's getting revenge for the death of his sister. No, I don't think Santa actually murdered anyone. In fact, Junpei didn't think. He knew. He couldn't explain why or how, but he had no doubt that Santa had killed no one. Perhaps the madness of the last several hours was finally driving him insane. But Junpei had ceased to be surprised at his sudden knowledge, and had even begun to accept it. If I'm right, then it's not hard to figure out who the next victim's going to be, is it? I'm pretty sure I don't have to tell you. Snake, Clover, and Seven all nodded. The next target will be Gentaro Hongo, the person who planned the Nonary project. In other words, Ace. There was a moment of silence. And then the room shook. From far away, they heard the sudden rush of water. Whoa, what the hell's going on here? It must be 6 a.m. Our time's up. Come on, we need to get out of here. How? In the drawer that had held the picture was a key card. Junpei grabbed it. I'm betting this sucker opens the exit. Come on, let's go. Key card 0. Alright, let's just swipe this card. Junpei, look! It's unlocked. Yeah, now we can go back to the library. Hurry up, Junpei, we don't have time. Let's go. Alright, let's go. The door opened and they stumbled into the library. The shaking had stopped, but they knew the danger hadn't passed. They ran across the hallway, straight for the large metal door. Next to the door was the Uranus key card reader. They slid the key card through and the door rumbled open. Out of the library and into the hallway they ran. At the end of the hallway was a door. Junpei reached into his pocket and pulled out the key as he ran toward it. The key he put into the lock was the Neptune key. He turned it. The lock clicked. As one, they shoved the door open and pulled through it. In front of them was another great metal door. Above it was a metal plaque. It read Incinerator. So this is the incinerator. This is the first time I've seen it from this side, but yeah, I think so. Then there ought to be a lever near the door. Yeah, right here. Junpei ran up to it. Pull that and the door should open. He had it. As he spoke, he pulled the lever. The motor in the door groaned as it slowly ground open. There was no time to waste. As soon as the door had opened far enough to admit them, all four dashed through. Then suddenly, there before them were the four who they'd parted.